So yeah, it's a Marvel movie, not made by Disney. Oh yeah. So yeah, it's 20th Century Fox, and they're doing some X-Men Apocalypse, trying to do a sequel to probably, to me, which I think is probably one of the best comic book movies ever. I mean, for me, it's up there. To me, I think I liked Days of Future Past better than I liked Avengers. I know that's a bold statement, but Avengers isn't my favorite Marvel movie, or is it my favorite Marvel movie? It's not. For you, you said Captain America: Winter Soldier is your
Winter
favorite?
Soldier really knocked it out of the park for me.
Yeah, because
just because it was going a complete different direction than I expected.
yeah, and maybe that's why the Russo brothers are now going to be directing the next Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Which,
and honestly, I'm really excited for Civil War too.
Ooh,
oh man, that trailer just
yeah. Okay,
just shut up and take my money.
Yeah, people call us Marvel fanboys. No, I'm a fanboy of comic books. I like comic books. I like select comic book characters. Like I don't like Superman, but I like Bat. I about had a war break out with you right there, because if I'd have said that by accident, you'd have decked me.
Here's the thing. I actually had a long discussion in the car with Ben one day about this, and I don't just completely hate Superman. I like Superman. I just want like Superman to do Superman-y things, and I feel like there are a lot of characters and situations that shouldn't cross paths. But these comic book heroes, sort of everybody grew up together with them,
yeah,
and so you can't really separate them now. So I just feel like Superman makes things really cheap when he's paired with like Batman or something. But no, I like Superman just when he's doing Superman stuff, not like Justice League stuff and like making it awkward for everybody else.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that to an extent.
And Ben, he has often repeated this, which I like. He says that DC writes better villains and Marvel writes better heroes, and I think that's
true.
That's a fair
true.
generalization.
No, but that's true, because who's the most famous villain ever?
The Joker.
And who's the most famous hero? Well, actually, you know who a lot of people rank as the #1 comic book hero ever? It was in Wizard magazine. It was in a lot of lists. You know who's #1? Probably the most famous X-Men.
Wolverine?
Yeah. He is ranked as the #1 hero ever. With Batman's really the top hero for DC.
Batman's kind of an outlier for
Well, he's their top hero. Well, you need the exception.
Yeah.
Well, you need the exception, and Batman, I feel, is the exception in a
'cause-
lot of areas.
Because their villains, I mean, they're really well written, but then
Yes.
Batman, like, you can do a lot with Batman.
Oh yeah, you can. Whereas Superman is just like he's a god and just like destroys it. It's not very interesting. To me, it's not very interesting. That's my problem I have with it. Here we are talking about DC characters with a Marvel movie that's with the company that's barely clinging to its last Marvel property that isn't failing.
But like we said, I mean, they've done a good job. So and
they did really good with Days of Future Past.
I haven't seen this, but I've seen some of the promo pictures. Looks pretty cool.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of people saw Oscar Isaac. As a matter of fact, let me pull up the Oscar Isaac as an Apocalypse.
They saw him just like without any context or added CGI. So, I mean, everybody was calm down. I mean, when you have unfinished set pictures, it's like
Apocalypse pics. Yeah, and I'll be honest. How they made him look. Let's see. Where's that? I don't know if they took it down. Yeah, there it is. You see, there he is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that good. He doesn't look. A lot of people were just like very questionable about it. They were just like he doesn't look very good. Doesn't look menacing enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Apocalypse, he kind of has that hulking physique, but
there it is. There's you see right there. To me, I think the color's a little bit off kilter in that.
But really and truly, we don't know if that's his final form because he can kind of change shape at will.
Form, bro. Yeah, it's true.
And the thing is like in the comics, he kind of had this hulking physique, but he never really needed it because he was basically,
Well, he's considered the first mutant,
right?
And the giant and the biggest leap forward in terms of the mutation. Because he has control pretty much over everything.
Yeah.
He can pretty much break everything down to the quantum
when you have control over matter itself, it doesn't really matter how bulky you are when you can manipulate you know,
Yeah, you can just
the
throw
building
your
blocks
hand
of
up.
existence.
Yeah, you could just tear the strings
So.
apart in terms of string theory. You can just tear them apart and not think anything about it. But anyway, that's a discussion for another time. We get the trailer queued up here. Let's give it a watch. Of course, the door.
I saw the end of the world.
Sophie turn. I'm sorry.
I could feel all this death.
Jean,
I can still hear her Sons
it
of
was
Stark.
just a dream.
I still hear her Sons of Stark. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I've just seen her for 5 years playing Sansa Stark, and to hear her American accent, I'm just like,
many lifetimes.
ugh.
Ra, Krishna, Yahweh.
Ever since the world found out about mutants, there have been secret societies who see them as some kind of second coming or sign of God. They believe that tens of thousands of years ago, an ancient being was born, the world's first.
Mutant. You are all my children. And you're lost.
Nightcrawler.
Because
yes.
you follow blind leaders.
Everyone's
But I am here now. I'm here for you.
Yikes.
Wherever this being was, he always had 4 followers he would imbue with power.
Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You got that one from the Bible.
Or the Bible got it from him.
What is it? Oh, God. He can control all of us. The world needs the X-Men.
That's why I'm here. To fight.
Not all of us can control our powers.
Then don't. This is war.
Everything they built
Whoa.
will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!
I've never felt power like this before.
No. Huh.
Wow.
Totally pulling it off. Full on Xavier. That looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I
admit
got
that.
chills. That's gonna be crazy.
Oh my gosh. Man, they're pulling out everything for this one.
Yeah.
Man. Only thing missing, did you notice it?
No Wolverine.
He wasn't there.
We don't know.
I don't know, man.
But see, it's like,
Well, he was the central character.
yeah.
Well, he was the central character of Days of Future Past.
Sure.
You can make an argument that he was there were 3 primary characters, or maybe even more.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they balanced X-Men Days of Future Past, the reason why is because he was the primary character, is because it worked so well, and he was really the only character that could do it.
and he had a literal physiological continuity because of his regenerative powers.
Yeah, he existed back-
His young body was the same as his old body, so they could do the thing. Which,
Yeah.
was cool.
It was, and I was going to say, if he'll probably make a cameo appearance in this, like he did in or maybe they're saving it and they're not showing it, but he's probably like a secondary character that's going to be more prevalent in the film. I don't know.
I mean, they could kind of tease you along, and then he just comes out of nowhere. Because honestly, if you're like, hey, Wolverine's not going to be in this movie, and then Wolverine shows up, people are going to be standing up and cheering in the theater.
Well, I was going to say, one of the original ways they defeated Apocalypse was because of Wolverine, because of his regenerative capabilities. He was able to build up an immunity
to the virus that he
virus.
created.
Yeah. And they did really good with that.
Yeah.
And if they use him for that in this, it'll be kind of like a MacGuffin or an Ex Machina, Wolverine Ex Machina. But
man,
just the way they're doing everything,
that looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and Oscar Isaac, the original pictures like we just talked about, he did really good in that. I mean, just see how in depth he was getting into Apocalypse. Yeah, when he was speaking, it was just like, this guy's crazy. See, that's when an actor's doing good work. when they convince you of it and they scare you, or they make you love them, or they make you hate them, it's just like when actors are allowed to do great work. And Bryan Singer in the director's chair again, after he did Days of Future Past, everyone was expecting after the X-Men franchise was in a weird way for a while, because they did the original movies, they did the first two, which can be argued that what started the modern era of comic book films, because you think of any other comic book film from that era that did as well as the X-Men movies.
True.
Because before that, you had a little spike ups. You had the Superman movies, and then you had Batman, the Batman movies that tapered off after Schumacher took over, and then you had in 2000, you had the release of the first X-Men movie, and Hugh Jackman looking a little deflated in the first film. And then here recently, just like looking like, holy crap, what's he on? Can I get some of that? Is it TRT or is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme.
Yeah, but anyway, you see that, and you see the amount of, you see just where it was. You see where it was when the first two films came out. The first film came out, it was really good. Second film came out, it was even better, because you had more mutants, more complex story with the introduction of William Stryker, and then you had X-Men 3, which I would say probably to me is the weakest film in the franchise.
Sure.
Because Brett Ratner took over the director's chair, and Fox was pretty much convinced this was going to be the last X-Men movie. And thus they did everything in their power to get rid of everything. They killed off Jean Grey, they killed off Scott Summers, they got rid of Magneto's powers. They pretty much had like so-called perfect resolution in mind, but it didn't come out that way. And thus people wanted more X-Men. And then they did First Class.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, people knock Last Stand a lot, but I mean, it did a lot of things right. Because to me, a lot of it felt like old school X-Men. I mean, you got to see the Danger Room.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
it was very, the flavor was very X-Men.
I could feel that.
Because it was like the established X-Men, like you kind of like, I watched the cartoon back in the 90s, you know. But then as much as it did right, it did wrong.
Yeah, it did some things wrong. Well, including Kelsey Grammer in there as Beast, which I expected to fail.
Was tremendous.
Really,
that was probably my favorite part about that movie. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wolverine, I hear you're a real animal. Look who's talking. The banter between him and Hank is always really good, because Wolverine and Beast always go hand in hand.
And they honestly, like, come on, everybody loves the Juggernaut from that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, Vinnie Jones did great. Even though they kind of cartooned him up with the huge arms and everything.
Well, it's the Juggernaut.
Well, it's the Juggernaut. He has if they'd have muscled him up a bit, if he'd have worked out and built his shoulders out more and had that, and did that. I could have seen them doing that, but with the way they went, I was very happy with as well, because they had, he was huge. He was this undeniably scary individual. And, of course, the line, him breaking out there, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Yeah.
Boom! It was just like, yeah! I remember when that happened, the audience exploded when that happened.
Do you know who I am?
I'm the Juggernaut!
Yeah.
And, of course, Kitty Pryde. Ellen Page's Kitty Pryde. I thought she did really good in that one.
Really cool.
Because they kept replacing Kitty Pryde. In the first film it was different, in the second film it was different, and then they finally settled on Ellen Page.
Yeah, and they really utilized her because she's such a cool character.
Yeah, she is, and she's a pivotal character in Days of Future Past. Which, after they did First Class, I did not know where they were going to go. I figured they do they showed the late part of the '60s. When the X-Men were born and forged. And then they show the expansion of the X-Men and Charles going through his dark period. I figured they would do that, but then they combine both timelines, which is a complex thing to do by itself because you have so many characters to juggle. But they did it so well.
Yeah, I mean, for the job that they had placed in their laps, is just tremendous. Yeah.
Yeah, Simon Kinberg, the writer of the film, he did tremendous in terms of crafting a script like that. And Bryan Singer coming back to the director's chair finally. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Matthew Vaughn did great work with First Class, but he just didn't want to do anything else. He came back as a producer, I think. And
honestly, I mean, can we give a shout out to Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Like, he's, like, never on anybody's radar, and then he randomly pops up.
Yeah.
And does pretty good work.
Oh, he does. I found
I
I found
mean-
he did really good work in First Class.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you see, that just shows you, and it shows you a good parallel between the characters as well, because on the scale of it, him and Magneto should get along beautifully, but Magneto had that grudge that he could not let go. It was the one thing that truly tied down his vengeance.
Yep.
And when he killed him, it was just, and the way they killed Kevin Bacon off too, that was horrifying. That was just painful.
And the
to
fact
watch.
that, like, Charles was inside of his head
And
as it was
felt
going
it.
on.
He felt everything. Oh gosh. Oh, could you? Well, actually, there's an anime that it's the Irregular at First High School. There's a character. He has kind of like a God mode-esque power. He has like a gun that he shoots you with, and it regenerates your cells to where they were the right before you had catastrophic damage done to you, and you're pretty much restored. And he can do that with characters who have been dead for a select amount of time. And the Achilles heel of it is he feels all the pain that you felt in your last moments.
Wow.
And he has to relive that every time he regenerates himself, every time he regenerates someone that he loves. And you don't notice, and you don't know that in the beginning, and then you find that out later. And it's just, and you realize the pain, what he goes through in terms of psychological turmoil. And that's just like Charles, him going through that psychological turmoil of having, pretty much a coin dug through your brain in such a slow fashion too. Because it was like going like that speed, and I love that the camera followed the coin through. It was just, oh gosh, so painful, so bad. Matthew Vaughn is a creative director in that, because he did Kingsman after he did that, and it's because he's never really made a sequel. Now that I think about it, because he did X-Men First Class, and then he left, and then he did Kick-Ass. And he didn't do the sequel for that. And it showed, because Kick-Ass 2 was not that good of a film. And now he's done Kingsman, and they're talking about a Kingsman sequel. I'm wondering if he'll finally follow through with a sequel.
Don't know.
Because he's kind of like the Valve of the movie world. Except where Valve doesn't want to do 3s, he refuses to do 2s.
I thought you were going to say Val Kilmer.
Oh, no. Well, Val Kilmer, dude, he's actually trying to make a comeback. He's lost a lot of weight.
Right. No, I'm just saying, but he doesn't really do sequels.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, he doesn't do sequels either. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, too. But I'm glad that they're including Nightcrawler again, because Nightcrawler...
Such a cool character.
Oh, yeah, because Alan Cumming, who played him in X-Men 2, I thought did really good work, and such a cool way of the intro to that movie, too, with Nightcrawler invading the White House. Yeah. That to me is one of the best...
Yeah, that
one
was
of the
cool
best
scene.
scenes ever in terms of comic book films, because it's so well choreographed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just so well done, and you just see how powerful.
And it's
Nightcrawler
like
is.
they've already kind of established that mutation, because they gave us Azazel.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
who Azazel is actually, there's different theories as to who Kurt's father is, and they say that it's Wraith, played by Will.i.am in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. Wolverine's friend who could teleport, and then they say it was Azazel. I believe it was Azazel, because they say Azazel is his father and the mother is Mystique, and it kind of fits, but at the same time.
With the continuity they're going with now, I don't guess that.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think Azazel is Kurt's father in this, but.
Well, I was talking about Mystique.
Oh, Mystique. Oh, yeah, because
Jennifer Lawrence is.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, Jennifer Lawrence's character doesn't age as well,
right?
Because you see, they do. They made a allusion to Rebecca Romijn from Rebecca Romijn Stamos in the original First Class film. Where she's like, where Jennifer Lawrence shows up in Magneto's bed and she's naked, and all of a sudden. He's like, maybe when you were a little older, and then she turns into her older self, which Rebecca Romijn, that was a good shout out to that. And then it just I don't think her character ages, and I think she can make her character look however she wants.
Sure.
And I think when she ages herself, what she feels like she would look like when she's older. Once she got to a certain age, she stopped aging.
Right.
Whereas,
well, I just feel like it doesn't seem like there's been enough time to introduce her, like,
Well, her and Azazel first met in the 60s when she joined Magneto's team. And she may have had an affair with Azazel. We don't know. And she may have given up the baby for adoption. Or Magneto may have done, or Eric may have done something, and that's why it caused such a split, such a rift between her and Magneto in the second film.
True.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we don't really know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that's unanswered. Like, what did Mystique have in mind for Wolverine when she showed up at the end of Days of Future Past? Because it wasn't William Stryker that took Wolverine. It was Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, wait a second. So does that mean she's the one that did all that to Logan? I mean, it's a weird thing. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. So much to try and wrap my head around, and I can't figure it. Just so many timelines to try and keep up with, so many characters. I mean, you drive yourself crazy trying to do this stuff. But, okay. Oh, man, we've ranted enough about this because we always do this when we watch movie trailers to movies we're really excited about. And, well, we hope you all have enjoyed what you've seen here. If you have any thoughts on the X-Men Apocalypse trailer, let us know. Let us know if you think our what we're saying is true or whether we're full of crap. It all depends on what you think. Leave a like down below. Leave a comment if there's something else you want us to watch. Check the description down below for our various other endeavors. And until next time, Internet, we will see you later. Peace out.